Welcome back to Lesson 10, the last lesson in the Smart Networking e-course. I'm Brenda Thompson, and I hope you've been enjoying the course and that it's given you a whole new perspective on how to approach networking. In Lesson 9, we talked about the basics of effective follow-up, knowing what you want to achieve, and planning time for the follow-up, not just the event. The importance of asking questions and letting the answers guide your follow-up. Delivering on your taking notes, and of course, finally, delivering on your promises. The next day or two is great. Within a week is just fine. If you do those 4 things, then you will always follow up when you should, and the other person will be absolutely thrilled to hear from you. I guarantee it. And remember, stuff does go wrong. If you don't follow up promptly for some reason, then do it when you get around to it and apologize for not having done it sooner. Let's face it, the other person hasn't contacted you either, so you don't need to feel too bad. Now in Lesson 10, we're going to cover the how-to of effective follow-up. We'll be looking at different categories of contacts and how you need a unique strategy for each of them that still reflects your business and your personality. Second, we'll cover 6 top tips for effective follow-up. And finally, I'll be giving you my resource box of follow-up touchpoints and useful follow-up management strategies. So who do you follow up with? There are typically 4 broad categories of people you'll find yourself following up with. Firstly, people you have offered to help. Now these may be the people that you can help with something that has nothing to do with your business, perhaps some information or a resource you can send them. They may be people you can help as potential clients or customers. Or they may be people you can connect to a colleague, either as a potential client or as a potential alliance partner, becoming a connector. The second category are people that you want to explore the possibilities of some sort of an alliance with, people you may want to work with. These are your most important connections. Remember, the people who can connect you to tens, hundreds, or even thousands of potential leads for your business. These are the ones you're going to want to have a smart cup of coffee with, whether it's live and in person or over the phone, obviously if they're open to the idea. The third category of people you want to follow up with are people you want to ask for help from. And yes, it's okay to ask for help. Most people love to help. Make sure that you look for ways that you can help them in return. Always give them a way out in case they don't want to or can't, and remember to say thanks whether they have or whether they haven't been able to help you. And finally, other people. Now that's really broad, isn't it? So what do I mean by other people? These are the business cards that you have that you don't know or remember why you have them, or you're really not sure why you got them. Invariably, you're going to end up with some cards that you have no reason to follow up with. Remember we talked in lesson 6 or 7 about having a business card strategy, about only collecting business cards when you had a genuine reason to do so and you told the other person what your reason was. These are the cards that you either didn't have a reason or don't remember what the reason was. Perhaps they were card thrusters. You know, the people who introduce themselves and shove their cards on you right away without even taking the time to find out who you are or what you do. Perhaps you had a conversation, but it went nowhere and the card exchange was a simple courtesy. Perhaps you simply can't remember what it was you said you would do, and yes, it does happen. So those are your 4 broad categories of people you're going to be following up with. Your next step is to decide on your specific strategy for each of those categories or subcategories. And obviously, this needs to be something that works for you, your business, and your personality. But most importantly, different strokes for different folks. You're not going to follow up in the same way with a potential alliance partner, as a potential client, as a card thruster, or as somebody you want to ask for help from. So you need to make sure that you have strategies that reflect all those different kinds of people that you're going to want to follow up with. So here are my 6 smart tips for developing your own personal effective follow-up strategies. We're going to look at just doing it, having a unique follow-up tool, a signature follow-up strategy, how to be smart with potential alliances, having a nice to meet you strategy, and a stay in touch strategy. So let's look at each one of these in turn. First of all, just do it. You need to deliver on what you said you would do. Don't let procrastination or not being quite sure how to follow up get in the way. How did you offer to help? Why did you ask for their business card? Were you going to introduce them to someone, give them a web address, provide them with an article? Whatever it was that you said you would do, that they said they would like you to do, just do it. And then we can worry about the strategies. Next, create a unique follow-up tool. This is particularly relevant when you're following up with people who are potential clients or customers. I strongly suggest that you don't move straight into a sales process with someone you've met at a networking event unless they've specifically told you that they want to buy from you. After all, what do you think when you get one of those impersonal salesy emails from someone you met at a networking event, or even a sales call? It kind of takes the shine off the new relationship, doesn't it? The best strategy is to build credibility and trust by not selling. Instead, you should find yourself or make yourself some sort of useful something that you can give them with your compliments. This could be a sample, a free trial, a frequently asked questions sheets, a hints and tips, 10 things you need to know about, 10 ways to choose the best accountant, frequently asked questions about bookkeeping. It must be something useful and valuable to the other person, not a sales pitch. No, not a brochure unless they specifically asked for it. It needs to contain information that's useful and valuable to them that's not selling you. And if you don't already have something you can use in this way, then make sure you take the time to create it or find something. It will make a huge difference to the success of your networking, and it's also an incredibly valuable tool in your referral toolbox because it's something you can give your referral partners that they can hand out on your behalf. Next, develop a signature follow-up strategy. This is about being different. Try to do something other than sending an email. Obviously, if you promise them a link to a web address, then an email makes sense. But something in the mail or a phone call is more personal. Also, try and do something that fits in with your branding. This is the time to be creative. What can you do that fits your brand and your business that could become your signature follow-up strategy? A postcard, a CD, a DVD, a chocolate, a card with a chocolate? Find something that reflects you and your personality and is a good match for your business. Number 4, be smart with potential alliances. If the person you met is a potential alliance partner, I suggest a double-pronged approach. By all means, use your signature follow-up strategy. Perhaps send them a nice to meet you card, but I also strongly suggest a phone call as well, so that you can arrange to have a smart cup of coffee, a chance to get to know each other better and work out if there is a possibility of working together for a win-win outcome. A smart coffee can be a virtual meeting on the phone or a live appointment, but it needs to be a set time, a real commitment. Next, have a nice to meet you strategy. If you have no idea how to follow up because you don't know why you have their card, just send them a nice to meet you message, either a card or an email, or even give them a call and ask them how you can help, particularly if you think maybe you did promise to do something and you can't remember what it was. And it's up to you what you do with those card thrusters. You may not really want to build a relationship with them. And finally, make sure you have an ongoing stay in touch strategy. Once you've made the initial follow-up connection, it doesn't end there. The next step is to stay in touch. This is where it becomes critically important to be organized, have a system, and keep great records. Identify a number of touch points that work for your business and personality and implement an ongoing stay-in-touch strategy that will ensure that you continue to develop each relationship. You'll find my top 10 recommended touch points for staying in touch in the resources section further down this webpage, together with some recommended resources to help you manage all that follow-up. So now it's time to sit down and plan your networking strategy. Your tasks for this week: create your unique follow-up tool, create your signature follow-up strategy, your nice to meet you strategy, and your stay in touch strategy and decide how you're going to work with potential alliance partners. That's it for me for now, and I do hope you've enjoyed this e-course. If so, please pass the link on to other business owners that you think would appreciate it. Remember, network smarter, not harder, and I look forward to networking with you again soon.